The cargo hold of the Catharian warship reeked of ammonia and fear. Jira, the vessel's security commander, watched through the observation port as the small human child sat cross-legged in the corner of the containment cell. The creature was impossibly tiny, barely reaching Jira's mid-thorax, with pale skin and dark hair matted with dirt from her destroyed colony world. "This is the last one?" Peck asked, his mandibles clicking with anticipation. The ship's beastmaster had been waiting for this moment since they'd raided the human settlement on Kepler 442b. "The last living one, yes," Jira confirmed, her 3 eyes never leaving the child. "The others perished during extraction. This species is remarkably fragile." Peck's thorax vibrated with what passed for laughter among the Catharian. "Fragile. Yet the Galactic Council fears them. Ridiculous." He pressed a claw against the control panel. "The Maw-Krath hasn't fed in 3 cycles. This will be educational." The child looked up as the cell door hissed open. Her eyes, those strange, forward-facing eyes that made Jira's chitin crawl, showed no tears. Only a cold, calculating stare that seemed wrong on something so young. "Move, human spawn," Peck commanded in broken standard. "Time to serve purpose." The girl stood slowly, her small frame trembling. But Jira noticed it wasn't from fear. The child's muscles were tensing, preparing. How curious. They led her down the corridor to the beast pens, where the Maw-Krath waited. The creature was the Catharian's greatest weapon. A bioengineered monster standing 4 meters tall, with 6 legs, crystalline scales that could deflect plasma, fire, and jaws capable of crushing titanium. They'd used it to break through fortified bunkers on a dozen worlds. The arena's blast doors opened, and Peck shoved the child inside. The Maw-Krath emerged from its den, drawn by the scent of fresh meat. Its multiple eyes fixed on the small figure in the center of the pit. "Credits on 30 seconds. One of the gathered crew members chittered. 20, another countered. Jira said nothing. She watched. The Maw-Krath charged, its massive frame shaking the deck plating. The child didn't run. Instead, she stood perfectly still, her arms at her sides, her head tilted slightly. At the last possible second, she moved not away, but forward, ducking under the creature's snapping jaws and pressing her small hand against its chest. The Maw-Krath skidded to a stop, confused. It circled, preparing for another attack. The child followed its movement, never breaking eye contact. When it lunged again, she sidestepped, and this time, she vocalized a sharp, guttural sound that shouldn't have come from such a small throat. The Maw-Krath hesitated. "What is she doing?" Peck's mandibles hung slack. The child approached the beast slowly, continuing her strange vocalizations. They weren't words in any language the Catharian recognized. They were primal, instinctive, the sounds of a predator asserting dominance. The girl reached up and placed both hands on the Maw-Krath's scaled snout. The beast lowered itself to the ground. "Impossible," Jira breathed. "The Maw-Krath is conditioned to kill anything organic that enters the arena. We spent cycles training it." The child climbed onto the creature's back, her small fingers finding purchase in the crystalline scales. She made another sound, softer this time, almost gentle. The Maw-Krath responded with a low rumble and stood, carrying her like a mount. Peck activated his communicator with trembling claws. "Captain, we have a situation in the beast pens." Over the next hour, the command crew gathered to watch. The human child put the Maw-Krath through maneuvers they'd never seen it perform. She directed it with sounds, gestures, and something else, something the Catharian sensors couldn't quantify. A connection that transcended their understanding of xenobiology. Captain Czar then arrived, her ceremonial armor gleaming under the harsh lights. "Explain this." Though, we cannot, Captain," Jira admitted. The child looked up at the observation deck, directly at the assembled officers. Her expression remained neutral, but her eyes carried a message that needed no translation. "You underestimated us. The human homeworld," Czar then said slowly. "What do we know of it?" Jira pulled up the data files. "Earth. Designated pre-space civilization. Gravity 1 standard. Nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere. Single moon. And... She paused, her eyes widening. Captain, according to the Ecological Survey, Earth is classified as a death world. Extreme weather patterns, tectonic instability, and an evolutionary arms race that produced thousands of apex predators. And humans? Tsar then asked. They're not the strongest species on their planet. Not the fastest. Not the most venomous. Jira's voice dropped to a whisper. But they're the ones who domesticated the others. They took wolves pack hunters that killed their ancestors and turned them into companions. They broke the spirits of creatures 10 times their size and made them pull their plows. For thousands of generations, they've been turning predators into pets. In the arena below, the child fed the Mawcrath a piece of ration bar from her pocket, saved from her cell. The beast ate gently from her hand. Peck's mandibles clacked nervously. What do we do with her? Exar then watched the scene in silence for a long moment. We return her to human space. Immediately. Captain? Look at her, Peck. She's 8 cycles old by human standards. A child. And she's mastered our ultimate weapon in less than an hour. Tsar then turned away from the window. The Galactic Council was right to fear them. We attacked a species that doesn't just survive hostile environments, they conquer them. They don't just fight predators, they make them family. As the Catharian warship changed course toward the nearest human outpost, Jira took one last look at the child. She was curled up against the Mawcrath's side now, sleeping peacefully while the creature stood guard. Humanity had sent the Catharian a message without firing a single shot. We are not your prey. We have never been anyone's prey. And the Catharian had finally understood.